Hey guys, how's it going? Will here. So year 2020 has been a very bad year for saving money, particularly because of our OPR that leads to our bad FD rates. So you know lah, recently due to the pandemic, there are a lot of changes in the FD rates. It started with 3 and then it went down to 2.7 and then now it is currently just hovering around 2%. So even the best interest rate with the longest duration or tenure, I should say, it's also giving about like 2.5 or 2.3, somewhere around there. So this has kind of led me to have a different mindset in changing and redirecting my funds to a more riskier approach, I should say, whereby I am currently no longer having any funds in FD. Yup, you heard that right. I do not have any FD account whatsoever. So this is actually going against what I have mentioned in many of my earlier videos where I actually suggested FD as part of your saving method. Back then it is applicable because FD is higher than 3% per year, but now it has dropped a whole percent. It is not really a viable function anymore. It is still viable if you do not want to take any risk. I'm not saying that you cannot go that road, you still can. But the usual FD rate, the conventional one, is roughly around 1.7, 1.8, closer to 2. Only those promotional rates will give you anything more than 2. So where did all my funds go? So before I reveal it to you, I would appreciate if you hit the like button, smash it till it turns blue, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, as it will help my channel out greatly. Don't worry, I'll wait for you. 3 seconds.
Please do it.
Alright, thank you for that. Let's get down to the content. So I have decided to move my funds elsewhere for about a few months already. I think close to 3 months if I'm not mistaken. So I've been moving my funds to 2 robo-advisors. One of them is Stashaway and one of them is called Wahid Invest. If you have not heard of robo-advisors before, I suggest that you can search for the video, as other YouTube videos have already mentioned these robo-advisors in greater detail. So for the purpose of this video, I'll just cut it short and leave the research entirely to you on what robo-advisors are. So Stashaway has this small component called Stashaway Simple, which acts like an FD. So Stashaway Simple actually has a rate of 2.4% per year. However, it is not locked to a certain amount of time or tenure, which means if you put your funds in Stashaway Simple, you are entitled to gain that 2.4% regardless of how long you put it. So they will adjust it accordingly and pay you out according to the time that you put the funds in it. Plus, it is flexible. It doesn't have any minimum amount. You can put it 50 ringgit if you want, 100 if you want. So this is an alternative to an FD. However, Stashaway Simple is not protected by PIDM, so there is a risk factor of losing your money. With that being said, it is backed by major banks in Malaysia. So in order for Stashaway Simple to go wrong or to go bust, something really wrong must happen to those banks that is supporting this program or supporting this component. I also made some side investments on Stashaway, the main component, and also Wahid Invest, whereby these 2 robo-advisors actually diversifies your fund into many different sectors. So some of them are stocks, international stocks, mainly US based. Also it has commodities, like gold, heavy metal, maybe even petroleum. It also has a little bit of bonds, a little bit of mutual funds. It's a mixed bag of everything. It's just like a goodie bag that you buy for a certain price, and it is adjusted accordingly to the risk factor where you're comfortable with. Higher risk obviously will net you higher returns. There is certain percentage that you can lose your money. So this is not a foolproof investment, but if you have the appetite to take risk in order to gain more reward, you can obviously opt for that. Robo-advisors is completely automated. You don't have to do anything. You just put in your money, whether it is scheduled deposit or one-off payment, it is completely up to you. You can just leave it there long term, like 5 years, 10 years, and watch your money grow lah, if the invested component is doing well. So do this at your own risk, do your own research, see if you're comfortable with it or not. And if you decide to pull the trigger, please feel free to use the referral link down below. I will link it in the description for both Stashaway and Wahid Invest. But with that being said, FD is not completely dead. FD at 2% is still better than nothing. It's still better than you just putting your money in your savings account and let it sleep there, collecting 0.0001% of interest. Both Stashaway Simple and conventional FD have its own pros and cons, whereby the strongest pro for FD is definitely it is protected by PIDM. But the cons of it, the rate is not very attractive. It is quite low, currently sitting at 2%. Do it at your own discretion. I will not tell you what to do with your money. Do your research. Take your risk if you are comfortable with it. If you want, you can obviously put in a certain amount of funds and try it out. Maybe like 50 ringgit on Stashaway and 50 ringgit on Wahid, or just go with either one, and see if you are okay with it. So this is what I have been doing for the past 2.5 months, and I am quite pleased with the returns I get from both robo-advisors. For the past 2.5 months in Stashaway, I got close to a 3% return, which is actually more than what I can get in FD in 1 year. So I got 1 year's return in FD in a matter of 2.5 months. Wahid gave me a 3.4% return over the same period as well, as I start both of them together simultaneously. It's definitely a worthwhile investment for me personally. I will continue to monitor these portfolios over the remaining of 2020, and if I feel comfortable and I see that there are more returns to be obtained, I am definitely going to consider moving my monthly savings from my salary into both of these robo-advisors and take advantage of that. So there you go. This is what I've been doing with my funds recently. I hope my recommendation can also serve as an advice or an alternative for those of you who are trying to move away from the unattractive FD rates. But like I mentioned, do this at your own discretion. Do your research and only pull the trigger if you decide to take the risk. Feel free to hit the like button and subscribe and ring the notification bell as well for more weekly contents like this. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.